Hi, this is Justin from the Glencoe Golf and Country Club, and this is an instructional video on how my greens report card will work. In the report card, I'm going to show you how to evaluate the greens that I'll be evaluating. The greens that I will evaluate are holes 1 to 18 on the Forest course, as well as the upper putting green and the Turf Care sod nursery. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what parameters we're working with and what we're going to evaluate on each green and how we're going to evaluate. So you can see on the greens report card, this is the card that will get filled out with numbers and then come out with averages and scores for each hole and for each factor. So if we look over here in the left column, the factors that we're going to be evaluating are light, air movement, entrance and exit points, size of green, cupping area, surface drainage, internal drainage, irrigation control and coverage, purity of turf stand, amount of play, water quality, root depth, disease, localized dry spot, historical performance, winter injury, and percolation rate. Now to tell how we evaluate each of these factors, all you need to do is hold the cursor over the side and it comes up with the parameters. So for example, if we're evaluating for light, the score goes from 1 to 5, 1 being unacceptable, 5 being excellent. A 5 would get you 8 hours of sunlight, 6 to 8 hours of sunlight would get you a 4, 4 to 6 hours of sunlight would get you a 3, 2 to 4 would give you a 2, and 2 hours or less would give you a 1. Now if we look over on the right side, it'll show us our scoring legend. Now if we have an excellent or a 5, we've got no problem. A very good, still really no worries. If we only have a 3 or a good, we should be monitoring conditions. A 2 means that we need to make that a priority, and a 1 means that we need to take immediate action to fix that problem. Making it a priority means that if we compile a list, anything on that list, anything scoring a 2 would be at the top of that priority list to go fix. If it's scored a 1, it immediately goes to the top, and that needs fixed immediately. Now we can see all those parameters by holding over each one of the factors. We can just see that there are parameters to score from 1 to 5 on each factor that we have here. So we can assess each of these factors on every single green, and once we do that, we'll have an average score for the green, which actually is down here, and that'll be out of 5, and then we'll have an average score for that parameter across all 20 greens that we're assessing, and that will show up over here on the right side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you how we actually input our scores. So what we can do is we go to the cover sheet right here, and we can click on entry form. So what we'll do is click there, open up the form, and as you can see, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to insert a date. So let's just do that now. We'll go July 15th, 2016, which is today. Which green is being rated? Just as an example, I'll do say we're looking at green 2, and then it's got all the factors that we're evaluating along with the score, a drop down for a score for each one, and it actually has the parameters right on the form here to make it pretty easy, so you don't have to refer back every single time you assess an area. So again, light factor, 8 hours is a 5, 6 to 8 is 4, and so on. So we'll just go down the list and input some responses for these. These are just random right now, just as an example. And then after we submit this form, it'll pop up in our responses page. It will also populate that report card that we just looked at. So we'll click submit on that. Now we'll look back at our report card. And as you can see, hole number 2 is populated with all the scores that we inputted. And you can also see that if it's poor or unacceptable, if you need to make it a priority or take immediate action, it will come up in red as represented by the red over here on the scoring legend. The unacceptable will pop up as a darker red than poor. And then if we look down here, our hole average is 3.6 out of 5. Then over here, obviously, once we populate all 20, an average out of 5 will show up. So the next thing I'll show you is a quick preview of the hole-by-hole analysis. So if we click down here on hole 2, it brings us to a new sheet. And that'll come up with, when we submitted our analysis on each factor through the form, it automatically pulled each one and sorted them into their scores. So we have every factor that came up excellent is here, very good, good, and what needs to be a priority and immediate action. So that's a pretty good reference. We can look and have a good idea of what needs attention. And we can create action plans over here too. So we can say what a priority is, what is the work that needs to be done, the time frames, as well as costs it'll take to complete these tasks. Now the last component I'll quickly show you is the report card analysis report. If we click here on this link on our title page, it'll take us to a Google Doc. And in that Google Doc, if you want to turn your report card into a report for a superintendent or for a board meeting for a president or something like that, you can easily come to this page and you can pull all of your data from your report card that you filled out across your 18 or 20 greens, and you can put that in here. So again, all of the factors and parameters are listed, so whoever has the report knows exactly what the scores mean. Green number 1, again, we can put in all the scores, observations, concerns, what we would recommend, what superintendent would recommend, if the superintendent is giving this away to someone else. Again, that goes all the way down through each green. And then there's one page at the end as a summary if maybe you want to describe one main project that you'd like to get completed. After you complete a full report card, what you can do is you can take the report, go file, make a new copy, and once you do that, it'll open up in a new page, and you can take the link from that. And if we go to our cover sheet, we can actually put in the link here, so we have a history of reports. And after a while, you have a big long list of all the ones, and you can refer back to them as far back as you want, as long as you keep track by making copies. Overall, that's what the Greens Report Card does. It's a pretty easy to use, pretty intuitive program, and it should be a good tool to use on the golf course when tracking greens performance.